Okay, lady, today we have a very special guest in Cultivating Her Space, okay? We have a guest that's going to help you get your financial life, all right? She is all about stocks, Bitcoin, passive income, sisterhood, and wait for this, she reminds us that the future of finance can have body. Cue Meg the Stallions, body, yada, yada, yada. And I do want to say, you have to check out Tiffany's Instagram to know what post I'm referring to, okay, about the body. So go check out her Instagram and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about on her captions, all right? But on a serious note, Tiffany James is the founder of the Modern Blk Girl, a digital platform designed to help women of color learn to use the stock market and build wealth. Modern Blk Girl makes wealth building easy, cool, fun, while providing a safe space for women to grow, unite, and build. Tiffany J, welcome to Cultivating Her Space.
Thank you. So happy to have you. And the way I kind of need you to do voiceover work for MBG, like that was perfect. Like that was so perfect. It was just like, yes. Hi, lady.
Thank you. Yes, we're so excited to have you, girl. I think for selfish reasons, we want to dive in because we're like, teach us something, girl. So I'm gonna pass it over to Dom, and we're gonna dive in.
Yes, let's do it. I'm excited.
So the quote of the day is going to sound really familiar to you. Being in the market gives you a true chance at financial freedom and control over your life. From Tiffany J.
Amen.
Yes. I think that quote perfectly sums up what we are going to talk about today. How stocks and Bitcoin and building our financial portfolio really will give us that freedom that we are looking for and that so many of us want and need in our life.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why once I found my groove in the market, I never turned back. And immediately I knew what I needed to do, Like once I found the groove in the market and I was like, hey, I think I might be able to teach this. We tried it and now look where we're here.
So
150,000 Black women later, we are here. So
wow, that is
yeah.
beautiful. And and so speaking of getting here, right?
Yeah.
Tiffany, can you share with us your origin story and tell us what prompted you to dive into the world of stocks, Bitcoin, and wealth building?
Yeah. So I think, I've always been a natural kind of go-getter. I'm always looking for the new, fun, cool ways of doing things. My background is in computer science and events. So keeping up with tech was something that, was a part of my daily life. And in events and fashion and media, which is something that I truly love. So literally my life before investing full time intertwine both of these worlds. And back in 2016, my mom actually brought me to a seminar about options and fundraising and just real estate, just all these different like passive income things that you can do. And I, took notes and they kind of went over it. But, sometimes when it comes to options, excuse me, you have to have a really good teacher to like really break it down to you, because if not, it could just literally sound like mama, right? It's like it's like you're saying words, but I don't really hear you. So that was my experience back in 2016, and then in 2019, slowly I started hanging out with a lot of people that worked in the finance space, but men. And hearing how they were doing this thing called options and how it's working for them, and me knowing what options was back then, I always knew what it was, but never knew its true full potential. So I would start dabbling in it slowly and slowly, and like, oh my gosh, I'm making so much money, doing these things, but I never knew the full consistency that I can have in the market. Like I never knew that I could do this for a living. I never knew that laws and regulations will permit a regular just human to come in that doesn't have a financial background to invest fully. Like that just wasn't something that I knew was, a possibility. I know there's like all these laws and certain things that are in place that could really scare a regular retail trader away from the market. But, slowly, as my friends, I'm like, the guy, something isn't right here. And then, seeing the guys just do it and make so much money in the space, I got super intrigued. It's like, okay, I have to learn more about this. And my guy friends, they would do it and I would ask for help. And unfortunately, my experience with asking for help was, yeah, I'll help you. And it's very passive aggressive or like, like, this isn't for you. Like, okay, well, like, I'll try to show you, but I don't want to show you, like, I'm going to show you, but whatever. Like, I'm not going to really put my all into teaching you. And then, some of the guys that I would reach out on my own were doing research because I was so intrigued that it was just like, okay, I have to do this at this point. Sometimes as a woman, as a full-figured woman, as a attractive woman, I would say, they would try to exchange like, oh, like, let's have dinner or come over at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. It's like, no, we're
Come on
not
now.
that, So I constantly just kept going through these roadblocks. It's just like, but at the same time, making money like slowly, but then losing money. But it was enough where it's just like, I have to figure this out on my own because it was two things. It's either you're going to go back to work and do this where you don't really love it and really climb the corporate ladder in events. Because at this point, back 2019, 2020, totally did not want to do tech anymore. It's just not, tech, depending on what kind of tech you're working, especially as a CS major and just working in that space of front end development, it's definitely boys culture depending on where you're working. And I just did not like that environment. So doing events was cool, but events is definitely something where you know who you know, right? And it's very much so a game that you have to play that not all can win. And it takes time. So for me, I knew these were two spaces I did not want to be. I know this was something that could really open up the floodgates. And, we were in a Discord chat, a group chat, early 2020. Where like I asked the guy a question and he like totally embarrassed me in front of like 300 people in
How?
chat. Like I asked him just like a stock question. Simple. It's so funny because the stock question, super simple for people that now are in the market. Just something about like, how do you mitigate loss? Or what's your risk management strategy? Something like that. And then he kind of flipped it and asked me a question and I had no idea. And he laughed. He put like memes at me. Like he did all these like,
What?
Oh,
yeah,
what the
yeah,
hell?
yeah, it was so bad. And then after that, as we say in Brooklyn, say less. And I was like, okay, that's it. And literally, I studied for months, just study. I lost $17,000, made it back, then lost more money, then made it back, then made more. Then we started to build, and then I came up with my own strategies and things. Because in the market, there's so much ways. As they say, there's so much ways to skin a cat. Like everyone has their own strategy and what works. A lot of people have multiple strategies of work, some don't, and I found my groove and, made my first six figures and made more six figures and made more, and then, started to grow, found my groove. And now we're here. Well, Clubhouse started, but we'll stop.
Yeah.
We'll stop here for now. We'll stop here for now.
That's amazing. I do want to say, in one of your interviews I just pulled up, you stated that the stock market has been around for decades. However, 3% of Black women are represented. And I was going to ask you, what is the importance of having representation? But that example you gave, I think, is a great example for us on why it's important to have people that look like us. So I love the idea of Modern Blk Girl and what you've done there. Can you tell us what you love most about being a developer and wealth builder for women?
Yeah, I think the best part about our space is that we don't ever have to sugarcoat anything. We understand our language. Like being a Black woman, it's a language, okay? That no matter what your background is, where you're from, there's a certain language and code to which you understand. And that's just us sticking together in our place on earth. and how we are represented on earth. It doesn't matter your background, how you look at us as women. And we know the power of money and how having capital can change our environment. Okay, you could be in Ghana, you can be in South Carolina, you can be in Brooklyn. Everyone understands what capital can do for your family and for yourself, and building liquidity, building generational wealth. So when we get into this space, once I understood that, and I realized a lot of people understand that, and that it was a language. That's why when you're able to come into our Discord, it kind of did it, the community just built on itself because we understand the importance. And I think after 2020 and everything we've gone through with, Black Lives Matter and all the injustice that we faced, more than ever, Black women, we're like, we need to stick together and we need each other. And I always say we're all we got, even though there's so much pieces, but when we stick together, the power that we can create and what we can do. And that's the energy that you feel in our communities. And that's why, with Modern Blk Girl, that's why we open it for everyone and anyone, rather you're new, rather you've been in the market for some time, rather if you have no idea what you're going on, down to young girls. We have girls ages 15 in our Discord, and we have people who have grandchildren. I have a client that comes to me and she trades, and she said that she's 72 years old. So, people understand the importance of what we're doing. And I think, with me, I've never spent a marketing dollar in my life with Modern Blk Girl. Never ran an ad, nothing, never once. And we built this platform because people, as Black women, we understand our place and we understand how we're going to push it. So literally, it did it itself. Like, just a climate that we're in kind of just pushed the movement, and everyone knows its importance, and we just get it done.
Wow, that's beautiful. Like I love to hear about this community just organically forming and growing and blossoming, and it just reminds me of, just like you said, just the magic and the beauty of Black women, right? And how people need to celebrate us more, like, real talk, because we are doing it. Because I think, like, the magic for me as I'm listening to you is that in 2020, there were things happening, right, for you. It was a slow start in 2020. And now here, fast forward a year and a half, and here we are, right? That's beautiful.
Yeah. And
also,
oh, sorry, no.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but it also sounds really tumultuous. It sounds like a roller coaster ride, right? And so I am so curious about the emotions that came up through this process and how you help other women navigate those emotions that come up with the rise and fall of, like, gaining money, losing money, gaining it back. Like, just what are managing the emotions?
Okay, so there's like two pieces to this. Like, there is like how we got here and managing the emotions of just building this platform. Because I always tell people, ask me last year this time if I would do this, I'd laugh at you. Not me. Jokes. No way. No way. Like, I would literally laugh because I'd be like, oh, I don't have enough experience. Oh, people are not gonna listen to me. All these things. When we started on Clubhouse, literally, I would be on stages with literally just like 10, 20 guys, only girl, Black woman at that, and, putting my input in and, really saying things that really just help so much women until the women ask for it. They're like, hey, Tiff, so we like what you're doing. You should start a club. You should start your own club. You should teach your own sessions. And I'm like, for real? Like, you sure? And they're like, yeah, you should do it. And I'm like, okay. And then, I'm like, I've only been in the market like consistently, even though I've been in the market for almost 5 years now, consistently, it's only been like 2 years. And they're like, but you're successful. Like, are you making, I'm like, we just want to know. And I was just like, okay. And we had our first session. It had 500 women in it. The second session, yeah. First session, 500 women. The second session, 1,000. The next 2,000. And when I say 2,000 women, and like me narrating and creating the program and curriculum for these ladies to learn the market by myself. Like for the most part,
amazing.
Yeah. The funny thing is when you feel like you found your calling, it doesn't feel like work. Because believe it or not, going through the hardest points of Modern Blk Girl, it felt smooth sailing. It's when it was towards the end where, like, well, not the end because we're still here. Oh, look at the baby. Not towards the end, but until we got to like after Clubhouse kind of ended and everything the dust kind of settled. That's when things kind of got a little bit of challenging for just some of the stuff that you deal with for a business. Never teaching and the girls getting, but just now running a corporation, a huge business of different pieces and different elements. But the emotion was always spiritual for me, where I would always just pray and like, God, is this we're supposed to do? And I would always get like these weird confirmations. And anytime I thought something would go wrong with Modern Blk Girl, or like the curriculum isn't good, like I'll meet a mentor, or I'll back test things. And especially when I'm teaching, I'm always back testing things like 700 times, to make sure that everything that we're putting out to the women are like A1, perfect. And in regards to the emotions of trading, I always tell women that the market is 80% psychology, 20% technical. Because seriously, a lot of the women know the work. Because getting the work is easy. It's how you handle it is the next problem. Just like food, right? You can go to a supermarket, you can buy healthy food. Or you can not, right? You can go buy a Twinkie or bad sugary cereals or whatever it is. You have a choice in how you can handle it. Everything is a choice in life for you. Same thing with the market, right? You can choose to ignore when things go wrong, right? And continue going and burn out your account. Or you can analyze everything that happens, right? Because you know what you're doing, right? You covered the 20%. You know all the technicals. And a lot of times when I do one-on-ones, that's the biggest things where I'm never going over curriculum or things that we cover. It's me pouring into the women like, hey, you got this.
Oh no, Tiffany, I think we lost you. It may have been the internet connection. Okay, so it says you're offline. She may have to sign back in. Are you muted too? Okay.
Okay, yeah, so we'll just
while
pause.
Tiffany comes back in, what did I miss? That was such a juicy question you asked, and I was like, oh, I gotta get the baby.
Yeah, so I was asking about like emotions and like the emotions of the trading process.
Right.
And so she was really just kind of talking about how like the process of getting there, that you like it started off with I hope we didn't lose her.
Maybe it's the internet. I'm thinking she'll sign back on.
Okay. Yeah, so she was just saying that it's like there's a process to it, and for her it was mostly like doing the work and also recognizing that this isn't where she thought she would be. And being in that space with mostly men, and then having to recognizing like her power. And like the first seminar, there was like there were people, so she would be in Clubhouse and people, it would be like 500, it would be her and just men. And then someone kept hyping her up, like, you need to do your own thing for women.
Oh, wow.
The first one had 500 people. The next one had 1,000. Then after that, it was 2,000. And so things just kind of grew like organically.
Okay, Clubhouse. Okay, Tiffany, I see you.
Right?
That's amazing.
Right?
And like you said, that was a lot of growth. I mean, from 2020 up until now, so that's like a year and a half, like you said. And I think she said 150. Shoot, we after showing right now. Shoot.
Right.
I think you said 150,000 women served. I think that's what she said originally.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It is.
I mean, and I looked at her Instagram and saw some of the receipts where people are like, hey, girl, I made 2,000 in a couple days, or like 7,000 in a week, or whatever it might be. And I'm just like, that's really awesome. So it sounds like doing the work and just really, like you always say, trusting the process and like taking the time to learn it so that you can be strategic. It's really the key. Let me see if I can call her.
There she is. She's coming in.
Oh, she's coming back? Okay, cool. Yep. There she is. Yay.
Hi.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't notice that my computer was dying.
So. Oh, no. We're still on Zoom. It's okay. We'll just resume right where we left off.
Okay, yes. I'm joining the Zoom right now. Going to the link. And it was so good. We're talking.
Right?
Yes.
Juicy. Can you hear the baby, Dom? Just making sure.
A little.
Okay, cool. Let me mute myself.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Sorry about that again.
No worries. And Terri is on mute for a moment because she's feeding baby, and baby wants to have her voice heard too. So
I'm not mad at that. But I think where we left off was me talking about the emotion of the women and how they handle loss and wins, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, as I mentioned before, like, everything for the women, or my biggest challenge that I have, or that I see that the women have, is not the actual material, but the actual emotion piece that comes with it, and handling loss. Believe it or not, women do better in the market once we find our groove, because we're able to understand and internalize our loss and move on. However, the reason why men are more successful in this, because they can handle loss better. And I say this to women all the time compared to men. Women don't know how to handle loss. If you think about the way our lives are set up, and versus men, we don't have loss every single day, versus men, they're more prone to do more sports, right? Where they are taking more L's than women, right? More guys engage in more physical activity when it comes to sports and games than women. And then when you think about even just the dating scene, right? Right? And just being on everyday movement and interacting with relationships, men, a lot of men, they say, hey, if I try to talk to 5 women, if 2 says yes, I'm okay with that. Versus women, if 1 man turns us down, well, we don't do that, actually. We don't even do that, right? We don't talk to guys. But let's say we did, and that one guy tells us no, or maybe he's not giving us the reaction that we want, our whole day might be ruined, right? We may be internalizing this forever. That one moment, depending on the type of woman you are, can shape the way you look at relationships for the rest of your life. And when you start putting these things into play and you look at the dynamics, you can see why there's more guys in the market, and why it could appear that guys are more successful because they're able to handle these losses, versus as women, we can't handle it. So, it's so funny because we had this conversation recently, and I post the same thing, that I'm saying to you guys, like, hey, like, you ever thought about this? And they're like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like, this is so true. I've never had to handle loss. When taking losses is how you're going to learn. Ignoring it is how you go through the cycle over and over and over. But once you start to pay attention to these things and why this is happening, you can learn from it with everything in life. So I challenge the women all the time. If losses happen, I challenge you to find out why every single time. Okay? Because that's when you're going to learn about yourself. And that's why the market for a lot of people, and even myself, changed my whole life. And not just money and, being able to provide the life that I want and do things that I want to do, but just the way I interact with people, my outlook on goals and aspirations and things that I want, how I handle people around me in difficult situations. I've gotten better from the market, because the market will teach you all the lessons of life, and it never seems that way. But once you get into the groove of things, it's the biggest, life driver, mover, I don't even know the word, that is out there. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. What a way we're conditioned to show up in the market that way. What are some of the biggest misconceptions about the stock market?
Oh, that you need a lot of money, like you need a lot of money, and that the market goes down and you lose all your money. Like that's the biggest thing. Like, am I gonna lose money? That's a lot of people are like, are you gonna lose money? Am I gonna lose all my money? And they're always the biggest thing. They go, I remember in 2008, I was reading newspaper and people were jumping off a building because the stock market went down. Like I hear this all the time, and I'm like, guys, we have to stop this. When in hindsight, market's going down, believe it or not, you make the most money when the market is going down than up if you know how to play your cards
Really?
right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Market's going down. Why do you think in 2020 there were so much millionaires that were birthed when the market was going down? It's
Mm,
opportunity. When markets go down, it's an opportunity to buy at a lower price to bring it back to the top. So the
that
market
makes
isn't going
sense.
anywhere. Absolutely.
Mm.
I always tell people this. There's two things in the world. The men are always going to have the stock market, and our ladies, we're always going to have our makeup. The stock market is going nowhere. The guys love it. It's going nowhere. Okay. And makeup, you guys know, it ain't going nowhere. Okay. We love it. We need it. We love it. Okay. Same thing with the stock market. So the market is going nowhere. And then when you understand the stock market and how it's important to some of your everyday companies, then you start to see it like, hey, the market isn't going anywhere. But people don't understand finance. People don't understand the stock market. So they have these misconceptions of what they think it is. And that's the biggest one. I'm going to lose money. When I always say, hey, and I always break this down to women all the time, I say, ladies, how much time did we go to brunch this month? Let's count, right? How much time do we go to brunch in a year? And I said, how much vacations? You know, the average American takes one vacation in a year. How much vacation did you take in a year? I'm on my third one, but it was only $500. Oh, it was only $400. And I said, do you know $500 in the stock market? Investing $500 in Apple in 2020, right now you have over $10,000, right? And when you start breaking things down like that, they're like, oh, okay. And it's just like we have to be able to really start analyzing our priorities here and how we look at loss. And I always say, like, loss, how much of us have bought a no good man, maybe a president, or a guy that we weren't good? You know, I'm a realist. And I think
You
that's what
better
people,
preach.
I'm like, we spend money
Okay.
sometimes on the outfit for a guy that
Yes.
no probably isn't good for us,
Okay.
right? And we can't wear the outfit again because we took photos. You know, we did. So let's be real here, right? When we talk about loss and things, like, you know, we can all have the money, but we just need to understand it better. And that's just my biggest mission is just get on as much stages as possible and be real and have these conversations and talk about finance in a realistic way as if you're hanging with your girlfriends. And I think that's why MBG works so well because we are not, you know, oh my gosh, when the stock market went up 25 points and it's consolidating here. And that's not us, right? We're going to break it down in a way that's digestible and easy so you can really understand what's happening and you don't have to be intimidated. And, you know, you can do what you need to do with your account and your life, really.
I love that. I want to say
Me
I have a
too.
task to sign up for one of so like all of your courses. But I saw Dom's facial expression when you were talking. So Dom, what were you thinking?
So yes, so I felt like you were like speaking my life in terms of like thinking about like vacations and brunch and like the things that you spend money on, right? And I think about as you're saying this, it makes me reflect back to last year when the markets were down and I invested like small amount, right? In a couple of stocks that will remain nameless. And when I go in and look, and honestly, it really wasn't even that much. It might have been like $50. And just seeing the percentage of growth over this last year, like that, the one particular stock that I'm thinking of, like it grew 200% over this last year. And I'm looking at it, and then there's a piece of me that's like kicking myself, like, well, damn, I should have invested more money because of how much growth there was. But I think that it goes back to what you were saying around it's 80% psychological. And like you said about not liking to lose, I don't like losing at all. And so the idea of investing money that I could be spending on a vacation, that I could be spending at brunch, that I could be spending on a new handbag or whatever it is, right? The idea of investing that such a large amount at once is intimidating. And so, but I also, as you were saying that, something that I thought about is about the long game, right? That like right now, that $500 may feel like a lot, but it's pennies compared to the $10,000 that it could be in 2 years. And so I love the way that you are breaking this down because it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the next question that I have,
yes,
is about cryptocurrency, because that's the latest thing, right? That's the latest discussion. And so can you break that down for us in a way that you've done so far, like so that we understand it?
So you know that they're silent right now, right? It's not as loud anymore about cryptocurrency, right?
Yes.
Remember, it was everywhere. You a baby knew. A kindergarten could tell you a little bit about Bitcoin at one point, right? But before we even get to that, cryptocurrency, digital currency, right? It's the new way of everything, the way we use money. It's something that's non-regulated. You know, there's certain rules, certain regulations, certain things that should be put in place when it comes to money, right? Imagine if there was no rules to money. You could do whatever you want. That's kind of like Bitcoin, but it's within a certain market. It's within the crypto space, and you know, value of money goes up, like with anything in world, right? You know, the dollar goes up, the pound goes up, it goes down. Same thing with digital currencies, but there's multiple there's thousands of different currencies depending on, you know, there's countries that have currencies, there's projects that have currencies, there's so much different things that can have a some form of cryptocurrency. You can have one if you want one, right? You know, it's not that hard to get one. So that's what it is. And as you can see, the world is going to a more digital space. Blockchain is how you dig and how you find cryptocurrency. Well, the blockchain is the technology for cryptocurrency, right? So remember, it's digital. Yes.
It just made me think about how Usher was on the Shade Room. They had like Usher bucks. I know it's a little different, but is it basically like if I get people to believe in this type of like digital currency I have and they buy into it, that's my own cryptocurrency or Bitcoin? Is that how that works?
Dogecoin. Dogecoin. Dogecoin had no value. It was a joke. Dogecoin was a joke. Dogecoin, but the power of social media, the power of the internet, the power of influence is bittersweet, right? Because anyone can create a coin. So my issue with cryptocurrency is that cryptocurrency, I feel like, hurts the black community a lot. Reason why is because, unfortunately, as black people, we have a tendency of liking quick money. We like quick money. That's just, we're the bigger consumers of fast fashion, fast food. We like things fast. And with cryptocurrency, the stigma around it is you get to make money quickly. When in hindsight, that's not the case. Okay. A lot of the people that made millions of dollars in cryptocurrency, they've had crypto for a long time. That's what they forget to tell you. They've had crypto for maybe since 2017, 2010. Like, I've known about crypto, Bitcoin since 2010. It was huge in Brooklyn. So people don't realize that this thing has been around for a really long time, but because they have spikes in the market, they think, hey, I'm going to make quick money. And investing could almost feel like a drug. adrenaline comes in and you keep going. A lot of people don't have that discipline, and with cryptocurrency, they don't teach you discipline when it comes to dealing with X amount of money, because you will make money and you will take profit, right? But what happens when the community, online community that you're trading with or investing with, has another Bitcoin? You're going to go throw that money back into it, versus really understanding what's happening and understanding why you should invest in this project versus just noise and chatter. And that's why I don't like cryptocurrency for someone that wants to build wealth for themselves right now. It hurts us more than it helps us, because now what happens is I have a lot of people that are in the Bitcoin space. They're coming over to the stock market, and they think they want this. They don't want to learn skill, right? Because back last year, the beginning of this year, right, it was just a free for all when it comes to that space, because there was so much people in the market, when they're not understanding that the noise was created by the people that are making the most money from this coin. And the difference between Bitcoin and the market is it's easier to find out when people are pulling out of things, when things are dipping. It's easier versus Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is a market that is 24 hours, which means you can go to sleep and be down 50, 20, 50, 80, 60%, right? Versus the market, you have this time to this time, right? Yes, things can happen in pre-market, but there's certain things that you can do. You can set stop. There's certain things that can help mitigate your loss. And for crypto, it's just something where if you really want to build wealth, that's just not for me at this point, that's not the way to do it. Now, if you want to build something long term, I do think cryptocurrency is the future. Digital currency is the future. However, that's just not something that you're going to see real returns right now. So I always say build your liquidity, build your capital up in the stock market. And once you have some extra, you drop it into Bitcoin. You set it and you forget it. You don't look at it for the next 3 to 4 years, which the people that are making the money off of you, they've sat it for 6, 8 years. They forget to tell you guys that part. And that is the biggest issue with cryptocurrency to the Black community. And I'm not a big fan of it for that one reason. If as a collective we were better with money and we understood what was going on in that space, yes, sure. But for now, the stock market is just something that I would suggest for any person of color, anyone really, you know. That's my little crypto rant.
Wow. I
Yeah.
appreciate that, because I recognize I've been doing some research myself and like into cryptocurrency and learning that, oh wait, like you said, like it's the hottest thing right now, but like you said, it's been around for over a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
We're late to the party when you have stocks like Roblox that just hit the internet that IPO'd a couple months ago.
Right.
Roblox kids, there's not a kid on, I don't know, that don't know what Roblox is. Okay. Right. Roblox just hit the market. And that is an opportunity where Roblox, I talk about this company all the time, easily just for what they are, the technology that they have. The stock right now is trading around $82, $88-ish, around that range. In the next 3 to 4 years, that could easily be a $500, $300 stock. With options, that can make that is life-changing money. But you're gonna have to know some skill, right? You're gonna have to invest some time in your education to understand how to do that. But even if, let's say if you don't, right? Let's say you just sit it and forget it. You can still see a lot of money in that space. But people would rather hear doggy coin because it's trending on Twitter versus doing some research and understanding what Roblox really is and how they're disruptive when it comes to the kids, just getting into disruptive companies to invest in. They don't want to do the work. When that is going to be the real game changer. In the past 2 to 3 months, most of my clients or people that have been coming to me are Bitcoiners, I like to call them, Cryptocurrency. Yeah, they're all coming to me because the market is silent. It's dead. Bitcoin is it's not dead. They're going to a bear market. So there's bear markets that happen, and in a bear market, what that pretty much means when the market isn't moving. Okay. The last bear market that Bitcoin went through lasted for about 3 years. People don't realize that. It lasts for a very long time. But you know, so yeah, I'm not for Bitcoin, and I teach it because there's some girls that they are they're in that position where they understand how currencies work, and I'm like, yeah, go for it, throw some money in there. We're in a bear market right now. This is the time to buy. You buy it, you sit it, forget it. But if you want to really make wealth for yourself, a lot of our women learned at the top of the year in January. Some of the women learned 3 months ago. A lot of these girls are averaging easily to $1,000 a day trading when they do trade. I have girls that made over 6 figures, 7 figures in the market since they started with Modern Blk Girl because they invested in their education and they figured out their strengths and their weaknesses when it came to certain things. Like, hey, I don't do good with loss. Maybe I need to do a different trading strategy. Or, hey, I'm actually too jumpy. I get too excited. Maybe I need to work on that. What do I need to do? They found their niche, they worked on it, and now they have a groove, and now they're unstoppable. That is what I recommend for every woman. That's why I recommend the market for everyone, because there's a way for everyone. And the good thing about our girls is, as I mentioned, we have high schoolers, we have lawyers, we have entrepreneurs, we have people that work 9 to 5s, we have people that work 12-hour shifts, hospital shifts, hotel shifts, all over, and they are making money in the market because there's literally a way for you. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you're doing in your daily life. You can do it.
This is so helpful, Tiffany. This is amazing. And we appreciate you and the work that you've done for our community so far. I know that you're just going to continue to do more,
Yeah.
but we want to shift up the vibe of this interview, if that's okay with you.
Okay. Yeah,
And
of course.
because we recognize, appreciate, and celebrate the multifaceted woman, and we believe that it's okay to be classy and
Yeah.
ratchet, you can still be elegant and dance to strip club music. We want to invite you to the OU Clatch It segment. So, do you take on the challenge?
Okay. I don't know what I'm walking
Yes,
into. Let's do it.
do it. Yes, I love that.
Okay.
So we're gonna ease you in.
Okay.
Take it easy to start it off.
Okay.
What's one question or topic that you wish people asked you about more often?
Ooh. Music. Yeah, I love music conversations. Like, I love it. Like, I like to call myself a 90s music historian. Like I love, like, I know a lot about music. So like
Okay,
music.
okay,
Wait,
90s music historian. Listen,
yes.
I love 90s R&B. So all right. So what you got for us in terms of 90s music history? Drop some knowledge
Okay.
on us.
Some knowledge. Okay. So, what would you guys be interested in? Escape. Escape is one of my favorite groups, like ever. Their music, it just hits the soul. The dynamic of the women, they're like my favorite. But Escape, do you know that Escape, before Escape became Escape, there was only 4 of them. So there's 4 members initially before the whole group came together. But could you guess who was the last member to join Escape?
I'm going to pass that to you, Dom.
It feels like I should be saying that Candy was the last one to join.
Tiny was.
Tiny?
Yeah. But I love Escape.
Yes.
I love
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, music is one of those topics for you. What about, okay, we're going to shift it up. What about the most embarrassing thing you've ever done to get your crush's attention?
Ooh. Um. Uh. I.
You trying to think of like, which one can I share publicly?
I mean, I've definitely like accidentally bumped into someone a few times. You know, it's like a bump and be like, "Hi, I'm so
Like,
sorry."
oh, I didn't know you were gonna be here. Oh,
Yeah, like I'm so sorry. How you doing though? You having a good time?
no judgment. Okay. We can
Yes.
rock with that. We get
That's
you.
Yes.
We got you.
I love it. I love it. So, what is the sexiest item that you own?
Wow. Item. So I feel like everyone has a dress. Like the material just fits. It just hugs all the body parts, right? I have this one dress. I've had it literally, I'm 26. I've had this dress since I've been like 19 years old. And I get it dry cleaned. I make sure it's good. Because when I'm ready to really get, like, if I'm really trying to like pop out or like more Brooklyn terms, if I'm really trying to show out and like really, really, really just like impress a guy or something, it's a killer dress. And you have a nice perfume, you put that on, it's like the perfect match.
I love that, and it's so funny because one of our last interviews, that was the same answer. It was like
Really?
all she said was this dress. Remember, Dom? She said, "I just got this
Yes.
dress." We're just gonna call it the dress. So I'm with
Yes.
you.
The
I
dress,
love that.
girl.
Sometimes it just be like, hitting the right
Right.
spots. Tiffany, what do you love most about yourself?
I think I love the ability to pivot. I think that's important, right? We have to know when we got to give it up. Yeah. And my self-determination, like, I I like to say it's a bittersweet quality of myself, but I love it. Sometimes it could be too much because it's like Tiff, like you can't, like but I love being able to just like pivot and being able to just really drive myself with a passion. Like if I'm passionate about something, I can get lost in it. Like, movies, books, people, job, anything that like I deem it something that I like, I can really get lost into it and I'm gonna figure it out. Like it'll bother me. It's like I have to figure it out, and I mean, look at this. This is the biggest thing, right? I was like, I have to get it. There's no more women that have to deal with the men that I dealt with. Like, I was like, no. And I'm telling you, my mom and like people around me would like it was almost toxic, like literally locking myself in a room, like Huff. Remember Huff from what Scandal? Huff would just like sit in his room and just lock in. That was me. Like
Yep.
that was me. And fine. And I still get like that because there's certain things in the market that like there's the market. You're always learning. You're always evolving. There's so much new things, so much new ways, so much new strategies to always try. And I always lock in. Okay, no one bother me. DND. My sister's like, can't take any calls right now. We have to figure this out. We have to see if this works. That's kind of just like, yeah. So that's it. Self-determination and being able to just pivot, knowing when to just like, okay, we have to go on. So that's it.
Well, Tiffany, we thank you so much for dropping so much knowledge on us today. And for those that are interested in joining the Modern Blk Girl Squad and following you on social media, where can they find you?
Yeah, modernblkgirl.com, Modern Blk Girl, Google, BLK, not BLACK. We're working on that though. But for right now, we're BLK, Modern Blk Girl.com, and everything is there for you. We have the community, a free community for you to join. If you don't want to learn, you just want to feel it out, you want to see how the girls are doing, we put that there. You can see the girls' wins and their losses. Okay, we put that there so you know what you're signing up for. And you can see the community of people there, and also our classes are there. And this is, believe it or not, we're still in our first year of our company. So we started in November. We're still super new, and now we're starting to. We have a lot of exciting things coming. So if you don't find us, trust me, we might find you really soon. If you are a Black woman, because my mission is to get 500,000 Black women in the market. And when I say that, I really mean it. Like I want 5, because literally to start a movement, you only need about 10,000 people to really start a movement. Some people say 1,000, but I say 10. And I'm like, if we can get 500,000 women around the world, we can shift the dynamic of the Black dollar within the Black family household and just for our lives. So that's my goal. And so we'll find you. But if you want to find us now, modernblkgirl.com for sure. Everything that you need is there.
Tiffany, thank you so much. You are absolutely amazing. And to think that you've done all of this at the age of 26, I can only imagine where you're going to go. So, lady, if you are enjoying this episode, we have well over 100 episodes right now on the podcast on various topics, from miscarriages to daddy issues to mommy issues to narcissism and all that good stuff. So be sure to stay tuned and check us out.